So on a Tuesday morning in a small post office in Clifton, Arizona, an 8-month-old baby girl named Nova just uh, suddenly stopped breathing.
Oh, wow. That is terrifying.
Yeah, right. And I mean, there was no hospital room around her. There were no advanced medical AI systems tracking her vitals, no global safety nets to catch her.
Just completely exposed.
Exactly. There's just a postal clerk and her two bare hands.
Wow.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Today, we are looking at a stack of sources from a single day on Earth, Thursday, July 30, 2026.
And, the modern news cycle can feel incredibly overwhelming, but we are here to act as your guides today. We want to distill all that noise into some real aha moments for you.
Yeah, without all the jargon. And as we sift through this 24-hour news cycle, a really glaring tension starts to emerge for you, the listener.
It really does.
It's this friction between the incredibly complex, highly fragile technological systems we've built and, well, the raw, unyielding reality of the physical planet we actually live on.
That tension is literally everywhere in today's sources. I mean, we've engineered our society to rely on these massive interconnected macro systems.
Right, like we just assume they'll work.
Exactly. We assume the supply chains will deliver, the power grids will hold, the data is secure. But when you look at a cross-section of global events from this specific Thursday, you start to see the hidden vulnerabilities.
You see where the cracks are.
Yeah. And when those digital and infrastructural networks inevitably buckle under pressure, survival instantly reverts to the micro level. It all comes down to human resilience.
Okay, let's unpack this, because let's look at what happens when those macro systems physically break. In southwestern Japan, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake struck Kumamoto prefecture.
Which is just devastating.
Yeah. The immediate destruction was severe. A shopping mall and a paper factory completely collapsed. 23 people are dead and over 60 are injured.
God, that's awful.
It is. But reading through the reports, the real crisis wasn't just the falling concrete. It was the cascading failure of the infrastructure that happened right after.
Right, the secondary effect.
Yeah, rescue crews were suddenly fighting extreme summer heat, but without the systems designed to mitigate it. Water pipes were fractured, and there were widespread power outages that took the grid offline.
So the environment basically reverted to a hostile state the exact moment the engineered systems dropped.
Exactly. And we see that same systemic buckling on a global organizational level, too. Over in global health, the UN just named Julien Harneis as the Senior Ebola Coordinator for the ongoing outbreak in the Congo and Uganda.
And the math behind the specific crisis is just staggering.
It's the Bundibugyo strain, right?
Yeah, it is. It's infected over 1,700 people and killed over 600 since May. But the terrifying metric that Harneis highlighted is the velocity. Cases are doubling every 20 days.
Wait, I just need to pause on that. Every 20 days.
Yep.
How does any health organization build containment infrastructure fast enough to stay ahead of a doubling rate like that?
Well, honestly, they often can't, especially when the underlying systems are facing heavy friction. Epidemiological containment relies on a really fragile web of funding, logistics, and stability.
And none of those are guaranteed.
Right. Right now, the UN's $2.1 billion humanitarian plan for the region is only 45% funded.
Oh, wow. Less than half.
Yeah. And you add to that the geopolitical reality of active conflict in the Ituri province, which is actively blocking medical teams from reaching certain areas. The virus is multiplying exponentially, but the human systems trying to stop it are constrained by budgets and borders.
So when the macro systems fail, whether it's the power grid in Japan or the funding apparatus for the UN survival shrinks down, we are left with what I call the manual override.
The manual override, I like that.
Which brings us right back to Mary Schwartz, the postal clerk in Arizona.
Oh, right, the baby.
Yeah. When Nova stopped breathing, Mary didn't wait for emergency services to arrive and plug into a system. She's a former nurse. She initiated the manual override.
She just took action.
Exactly. She performed CPR right there on the post office counter on a Tuesday morning. And she kept doing it in the back of a police cruiser with a lieutenant rushing them to the hospital with lights and sirens blaring.
That is intense.
And Nova survived.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Mary's emergency training represents human resilience at its finest. It's the ultimate analog safety net.
It really makes you think about the value of those analog skills in a crisis.
Absolutely. In environments where infrastructure collapses, those localized manual skills are irreplaceable. She became the entire healthcare system for that child in a matter of seconds.
But here is the paradox in our sources for you to think about. While a human being is using analog training to save a life second by second, The tech industry is pouring billions into training AI to mimic that exact same medical urgency.
Right, the AI triage.
Yeah. A new peer-reviewed study out today shows that AI systems are now detecting intracranial brain hemorrhages on emergency CT scans, and they're doing it in seconds.
They're actually spotting the bleeds before a human doctor can visually concern them.
Which is insane to think about. How does it even do it that fast?
Well, the mechanism behind that speed is pretty fascinating. See, a human radiologist has to visually process these complex gradients of light and shadow on a screen to find a hemorrhage.
Right, which takes time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And AI doesn't see an image like we do. It analyzes the pixel data mathematically. It instantly compares the scan against millions of reference points to flag anomalies.
Oh, wow. So it's just pure math.
Yeah. And in stroke care, every minute a patient waits for a scan to be read dictates how much brain tissue they lose. So shaving off those initial minutes with AI directly dictates the patient's long-term outcome.
I mean, I can totally see the value in emergency triage, but the tech sector is pushing this way beyond just flagging CT scans.
Oh, for sure.
OpenAI just announced a $250 million initiative called ChatGPT for academic researchers.
That's a massive push.
It is. They're giving free access to their GPT 5.6 Sol Pro model to 100,000 scientists by 2027, and they're starting with 10,000 this summer.
And it's not just a login they're handing out.
No. OpenAI staff are going to actively help researchers at elite institutions like the Institute for Advanced Study and France's École Normale Supérieure integrate this AI into their existing scientific software, and each researcher can invite 4 collaborators.
Right.
Is this just corporate philanthropy? Or is this a Trojan horse to make the absolute highest levels of human research dependent on OpenAI?
Well, I mean, it is a brilliant strategic deployment of infrastructure. By actively helping these top-tier researchers integrate Sol Pro into their proprietary software, OpenAI isn't just providing a tool.
What are they doing then?
They are establishing their model as the foundational operating system for future scientific discovery. Once a lab's data pipelines are built on top of a specific AI architecture, the switching costs become just impossibly high.
Which totally explains why the cost to run these models is suddenly plummeting.
Oh, Google DeepMind.
Yes, Google DeepMind just released Gemini 3.6 Flash, along with 2 companion models, specifically targeting multi-step AI agents. They cut the token costs for long-horizon engineering tasks by up to 65%.
And undercut their previous Flash tier by 17%. Plus, they tease an upcoming Gemini 3.5 Pro refresh.
Yeah, exactly. But I read that term a lot in these tech briefs, token costs. Why is dropping the price of a token the key to making AI autonomous?
So think of a token as a basic unit of data. It's roughly a syllable or a piece of a word. When you ask a normal chatbot a simple question, it uses a few tokens.
Okay, makes sense.
But a multi-step AI agent is designed to be given a massive, complex goal, like designing a new chemical compound. It has to break that goal into steps, analyze the results of step 1, remember that context, and use it for step 2.
So it's constantly thinking.
Exactly. Holding all of that continuous thought process requires processing millions of tokens over a long horizon. Historically, the compute costs made autonomous agents way too expensive to run at scale.
So by slashing token costs by 65%.
Google is making it financially viable to let AI agents run unsupervised problem-solving loops. We aren't just making chatbots anymore. We're creating these ultra-fast, subsidized analytical engines for enterprise and science.
So what does this all mean for us? If we make AI agents this cheap and ubiquitous, are we just outsourcing our fundamental problem-solving skills? Or are we just upgrading our tools?
Well, giving AI the keys to our scientific software and medical data means we have to digitize everything. And here's the friction point. When everything is digitized, everything becomes a target.
Right. Because the vulnerability scales with the digitization.
Exactly. Look at the hackers from today's briefing. The Spanish National Police just busted a sprawling cybercrime ring involving investment fraud and business email compromise.
And the scale is just staggering. It was a $160 million or €140 million operation.
Yeah, they arrested 4 suspects across Spain, Portugal, and Panama and froze €3 million.
Just to move that much capital, they had to build a dark mirror of our financial systems.
They really did. They were using 800 different bank accounts, 120 business accounts. Authorities seized 170 phones and 15 computers.
But the threat isn't just coordinated crime rings tricking people with emails. It feels like the foundational software itself is crumbling.
The structural weaknesses are definitely showing.
Yeah, Microsoft's July 2026 Patch Tuesday had to address a record 570 flaws. 570.
In a single month.
Yes, this included 59 critical flaws and 3 0 days, 2 of which were actively exploited. How does an operating system that we all use suddenly have 570 holes in it?
It comes down to architectural weight and legacy code. Windows has to support this almost infinite combination of older hardware, new software, and diverse enterprise environments.
So it's just bloated.
Basically, yeah. And a 0 day is a vulnerability the software maker is completely unaware of, meaning hackers have 0 days to fix it before it's exploited. Just hours after Microsoft shipped that patch, a researcher dropped proof of concept code for a new Windows 0 day that works on every supported version of Windows.
It is wild. And that structural weakness is terrifying when the digital world intersects with our physical infrastructure. We saw this in Minnesota.
The water systems.
Yeah. A coordinated cyber attack breached the operational technology of over 30 community water systems over 2 days. It knocked Bram's water treatment plant offline and disrupted cellular communications at water towers in Plymouth.
And the FBI is investigating, but the distinction between IT and OT here is critical. When hackers breach IT, they steal data. When they breach operational technology OT, they are taking control of the physical world.
They're weaponizing the digital network against the physical water supply.
Right, they're talking to the physical pumps and the chemical mixers.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite all those systems being breached, no cities reported unsafe drinking water. Why? Because several systems survived by reverting to manual controls.
The manual override saves the day again.
Exactly. The human operators physically disconnected the digital networks and ran the plants on manual controls. They pulled the plug to save the utility.
You can see institutions reacting to this threat environment across the board. Look at Apple. They are delaying their N50 smart glasses to WWDC 2027 entirely over privacy concerns.
Spurred by the backlash against the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, right?
Exactly. Apple is now scrambling to build hardware defenses against software problems. They're engineering a tamper response feature to disable the camera if the recording light is blocked.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, utilizing default on-device processing, and they're even considering a camera-free version. And locally, you see the same defense mindset. Humble ISD in Texas just won 4 COSN Trusted Learning Environment mini-seals for protecting the data of 48,000 students.
So K-12 IT leaders are now treating data privacy as a frontline responsibility.
They have to. Securing a child's digital footprint requires the exact same rigor as locking the physical school building.
Which raises a really big question. If our digital world is full of leaks and requires 570 patches a month to survive, how do we build better, more resilient systems?
Right.
By training a new generation to iterate and problem solve. Look at High-Tech High's robotics team, the Holy Cows. They just won the top prize at the first Robotics World Championship in Houston.
And what stands out about that San Diego charter school's victory is their process. It's credited to project-based STEM learning, industry mentorship, and an iterative design process.
They built prototypes, watched them fail, diagnosed the friction, and rebuilt them.
Which raises an important question: what can good engineering actually achieve? Look at Mars.
Oh, the Perseverance rover.
Yeah. NASA's Perseverance rover just drove the equivalent of a 26.2-mile marathon, and it hit this milestone on its 890th Martian day over 5 years after landing.
Blowing past the Opportunity rover, which took 11 years to do the same thing.
NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter even caught a photo of it crossing the finish line as a tiny green speck.
It is just amazing to marvel at the contrast. You have a 5-year-old physical robot flawlessly executing a marathon on an alien planet, while our digital software on Earth is constantly scrambling to patch its own foundations.
It really puts things in perspective.
It does. But, with all this relentless global progress, the technological patching, the crisis management, the human brain still craves diversion.
We need play.
We do. We need play. And we need the natural world to heal. You see this in today's sports chatter. At the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games, 21-year-old Australian swimmer Flynn Southam just stunned everyone.
Oh, that was an incredible race.
Right. He beat defending Olympic champ Kyle Chalmers and Wales's Matt Richards in the 100-meter freestyle. He won gold by fractions of a second, 47.13 seconds, giving him 3 golds for the Games.
It's just raw human adrenaline. You can't program that.
Exactly. And in the MLB, the Cubs routed the Cardinals 10-2 in a 17-hit show. They scored 7 runs in just 2 innings, with Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, and Nico Horner driving in 2 runs each.
And NFL training camps are opening for 5 weeks of padded practices ahead of the August 30 cut down to 53 players.
Even WWE NXT had Grayson Waller reliably buzzing and trending across X on Tuesday night. We need these escapes.
We really do. But to wrap up our factual deep dive, there's a quiet conservation win from Western Estonia that perfectly captures this idea of healing.
Oh, the ospreys.
Yes. Ospreys are finally returning in growing numbers to the Parnu River. For decades, damming had just ruined the habitat. But the removal of the Cindy Dam allowed migrating fish to return, which brought the birds back with them.
It's so cool how quickly nature can bounce back.
Well, it's exactly like the iterative engineering we discussed earlier. Habitat restoration is patient, unglamorous work. Removing a dam takes time and effort, but it pays off and proves that systems can heal when humans actually commit to them.
So we've taken you on quite a journey today. From earthquakes in Japan and post office heroes in Arizona to AI stroke detection, massive cyber hacks, a robotic marathon on Mars, and ospreys returning to Estonia.
It's been a busy Thursday.
It really has. But I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We spend billions building AI agents and smart glasses to make our lives friction-free.
Right, to automate everything.
But looking at the Minnesota water plants and the postal clerk in Arizona, what if the most vital technology we possess as a species isn't our ability to automate the world?
What is it then?
What if it's our ability to selectively disconnect, to confidently run on manual controls when the complex systems inevitably fail?
That is a fascinating way to look at it.
Stay informed, stay curious, and thank you for joining this deep dive. We'll see you next time.